video, we're going to tell people a little bit about us.
Yes.
So, who are you? That's a very good question. I'm still finding that out, you know. I was very fortunate to be raised at a farm in Iceland. So I had a very close connection to nature ever since I was a kid. And I remember I always wanted to be outside because I was, I really wanted to just feel the energy outside. And at that time, I didn't really understand why I wanted that, but it felt right and it felt good. And I love animals. I've always done that, so I really liked being around the animals as well. So yes, I am born and raised, and well, not born, but raised at a farm in rural Iceland. What about you?
I also lived on a farm.
Yes.
Until I was 9. Then I moved to the city. But I spent every summer at farms until I was 16, 17.
Mm-hmm.
And I always had pets at the house. I had horses, so I was also very connected to animals. Mm-hmm. I love nature, but the same as you, I didn't really understand what the connection was, mm-hmm. or why I was always pulled towards the countryside and nature. Mm-hmm. But now I do.
Mm-hmm. And it was actually at my farm, or my family's farm, where we met the first time.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That was a very, very lucky day for me. But your parents agreed to let me spend the summer when I was 11. Mm-hmm. So we've known each other for many years.
I was 10, you were 11.
Yeah, I'm the older one.
Yeah.
Yep.
Just to be clear.
Yeah.
Very important.
But it was an amazing place, mm-hmm. and is an amazing place. Mm-hmm. And for me, as a kid, to get to spend the summer was really good. I was very fortunate, mm-hmm. and of course to meet you.
Of course,
best thing ever.
Yeah, but then we have kept in touch, and we have been really good friends for 3 decades, more than 3 decades, mm-hmm. But we, of course, walked our different paths when we were young women, and I started out going to, I went to school when I was 16 in a village called Sauðárkrókur, which is far away from Reykjavik. You were in Reykjavik, and we didn't really, we were always connected, but we didn't really start spending a lot of time again together until we were around maybe 20 years old.
Yes.
Yeah. When I came here to go to university to have my tourism degree.
Yeah. And I was also busy at school, working, and started university at the same time, I think, because I was a year late to go to university to do my business degree.
Yes.
I studied marketing and management.
Mm-hmm.
So quite different. I was very business orientated, mm-hmm. whereas you were doing and focusing on different things.
Yeah. I grew up at a holiday farm, so my parents were involved in tourism ever since I was around 12 years old. So the logical step, kind of for me, was to take do my degree in tourism. Yeah. So I specialized in tourism, got my bachelor degree there, and with a special emphasis on sustainable development and rural development. Mm-hmm. So that's where my specialization has been, in that part of my life ever since.
In your old life?
In my old life.
Yeah.
After I got my bachelor's degree, I also got my teacher qualifications. Mm-hmm. So I have qualifications to teach almost every age. Yes. Except for kindergarten. I don't have the qualifications for that.
No, we won't let you those certificates.
But all other groups I can teach. Yeah, and I did that for a few years after I graduated. But I quickly found out that this system that education has been forced into really didn't suit me. And I always remembered, like 2 months after I started teaching again, I remembered why I quit the last time. I didn't have the patience to work within this system.
But then you were also very good with your other thing.
Yeah.
The tourism.
Yes. And I worked within tourism for 2 decades almost, and working for regional governments and working for national governments as well, and managing projects both on regional, national and international levels. So I would say I have quite a vast experience in that sector, and just planning events and educating people in all kinds of things, I would say, and change management. I think that's what we both have been involved a lot in.
A lot, yeah. No, my path was quite different because when I started university, I joined an international student organization. I traveled a lot. I took my time finishing my degree. I started working at a bank. So I've been mainly working for financial institutions, for pharmaceutical, for an IT company. So because of this, I think the start, when I started university, and this international link that drew me towards international projects. My first job at the bank was on a national level, so I was communicating with people in 50 locations around the country, which was amazing. And then I went to Belgium to do my MBA with specialization in finance, and I thought I was going to work in finance. But when I came back, I went into the IT industry, more project management within IT and international projects. So I've traveled a lot, love working with people from different cultures, and I love diversity. So I think that's what drew me to always to new projects within different companies, mainly within Iceland, but with international links. So yeah, quite different.
Yeah, very different background, but somehow it all kind of makes sense right now.
Exactly.
When we are starting this school and working with this big project of ours. So yeah,
it's true.
What about your spiritual path?
When I came back from Belgium in 2006, I decided to take my time to find a job. And as my mother is a psychic medium, then she was starting to teach people. And then I decided to dive into this, to study everything I could. And I started in a development group, I learned how to read oracle cards, tarot cards, and just different things, because I was open towards everything. And I had some months where I was able to focus only on this, which was amazing. I would say still I started a bit earlier, because around the year 2000 I went to see a healer, and I learned a lot from her, and I worked with her for about 10 years. And that was my first experience of something different from the traditional system. And it helped me. It really, really helped me. And that's where I started believing in something that was different from the normal structure that we have, like the normal healthcare system that we have. And I also started working with crystals around the same time. So yeah, then I continued with my degrees and working in banks, and but it was a good mix, because I had to do something other than just work. And that's how it all started. And from there I decided to learn, as I said, everything I could. Learned mediumship, like platform mediumship, healing, and all kinds of different things, that everything I could touch, basically. What about you?
That's a good question. As I said before, I've always been able to sense energies, and but as a kid I didn't really know what that meant or what it was that I was feeling. I was just really, really sensitive to everything that was going on, nature, animals, people, So I was very often full with anxiety because I felt that I had no control over what was happening around me. And I think that's something that sensitive people and children especially deal with, because they don't understand what it is that they're feeling. And very often they're feeling something that isn't theirs. Yeah. So I've always been fascinated by things that we can't see. And but I didn't feel a strong pull towards the spiritual side of me until maybe around 2006. 2006, 2007, something like that. And I started to, a little bit before that, I started to be in a development group with your mother. And so she taught me a lot in my first steps. And that was, it was really amazing to just be able to get to know the basics of a lot of things. Maybe not in depth into anything, but just to touch upon a lot of different areas to kind of try to find where I would fit in. And shortly after that, I moved back to the countryside. I was living in the city for a while. I moved back to the countryside, and I connected to the elves and the fairies. And they taught me how to work with herbs. And so I took at least 2 years where I was developing recipes and making balms and healing balms and all kinds of things with the herbs. So that was kind of my first touch in this spiritual path. And then of course the floodgates opened, and because I'm very, very curious, and I started to just see what was out there. Go to studying healing, go to healing seminars and workshops. I did some psychic art workshops, shamanism workshops, reading oracle cards, tarot cards. I think a little bit of everything. It's not possible for me to remember everything that I was digging.
The same with that too.
Yeah, and I also was leading my own development groups in 2 different areas in Iceland for a while. So I learned a lot from that to lead people through their first steps, because that just made me rediscover, my connections. But I've always had this really strong feeling that I am supposed to save the world, and it's
small task,
a very small task, and and it was really weighing on me when I was a kid, because I felt this. It was such a strong feeling. You're supposed to save the world, and it was, for a 10-year-old, that's like. And no wonder I was ridden with anxiety when I was a kid, with that task in front of me.
A lot of responsibility.
Yeah, so I was writing poems about how to end the nuclear wars and everything. And when I was 10 years old, and trying to figure out how to get people to read the poems or hear the songs that I was writing. And but I've always had this strong feeling that I'm supposed to do something that matters. And I think that is one of the main reasons for why I burned out in my other life. It's because I wasn't walking my path. I was doing something else, and that just ate me up without me realizing it, I guess.
Yeah, I can say about the same. Not that I had to save the world, but that because of everything that I had learned, how to work with energy, what it can do for us, how it can help us in our daily life to work with our body, with our energy fields, with the earth, and the connection with the earth, and the connection with all the energy that's out there. All the angels, the elementals, the dragons, the unicorns, everything, all the beings, the light beings that are there. And I had this strong feeling that I should be helping others discover this and help them strengthen their connection to themselves and then to the different realms. And I can say the same. I mean, what I was doing in the end in my corporate work was not it didn't match my values. So I believe that's a very strong contributing factor to my burnout.
Yeah.
So that was huge. And just this feeling that I know I'm not doing what I'm supposed to do, and what I was doing was not really matching my belief and what I knew within my heart. And so that was my big push. And that is what was needed for me to listen to myself.
Yes.
And that sometimes we need the hard lessons.
Yes.
We
both needed big kicks.
Yes.
In the behind.
To move in the right direction. The right direction for us.
Yes. But the interesting thing is that we were going through burnout together.
Yeah.
At the same time. So that was quite interesting.
Yeah.
And I think if we hadn't been doing that at the same time, I think we might have ended up differently, or it would have taken us longer time to go into the path that we are in now.
Probably.
Yeah.
But I think it was just meant to be.
Of course. And
we're both stubborn and didn't listen.
Yeah. And we had a very strong feeling about what was 2 years ago, 3 years ago, about that we were supposed to be working together.
It was longer. It was almost 5 years ago.
Oh my God.
Where we sat and
where does time go?
We mapped out all our skills, our qualifications and everything, because
and the whole corridor here was like covered in post-it notes.
Yeah. Because we knew we should be working together, but we didn't know what we should be doing.
No.
Yeah.
we tried. It was a good effort. But we weren't quite there yet.
No.
But the feeling was there. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
that's the start of everything that we're doing now.
So Starcodes Academy.
Yes.